When I was working at the zoo, the penguinarium was new and was considered one of the best in the country. Just about every species of penguins were in the exhibit, and I never got tired of watching them. Now the zoo has a new penguin house, but I only saw it on television. Penguins in the wild take turns hatching their eggs while the other looks for food. Penguins at the zoo were hand-fed. Thus, penguin eggs had to be collected because both parents would leave them unattended at feeding time. Sounds like welfare in this instance is a bad idea. I delivered the fish that they ate, but I did not have to feed them. That job belonged to the zookeepers in charge of the birdhouse and penguinarium. It was at break time when some of the caretakers talked about their duties. There was a conversation mentioned about feeding penguins. They said that thick gloves had to be worn at feeding time. That was because penguins had very sharp beaks. It was easy to get bleeding fingers without gloves. The birdhouse is also different today than it was then. Today, part of the birdhouse has open tropical areas for exotic birds to fly freely. There is another area for a couple of American bald eagles, complete with a tree and nest. Still does not sound appealing if you ask me, Lolita. Can you imagine how an employer or employee may feel when they want to excel and climb high, only to be hitting their head on a glass ceiling wondering why they want to aim higher, but something keeps touching their heads? Bald eagles in there. I am quite sure there is a plethora of listeners and readers who do not understand. I do not care how comfortable you try to make it, us, or myself feel. It, us, and I want to fly high, and we don't need your consent. Now, back to the story. Back in my day, all the birds were in large bird cages. Nice upgrade, but I want more. LOL. The birdhouse was another exhibit where the food truck only made special deliveries. This time there was no live creature delivered there. The few times that I made deliveries were when I could spend a few minutes in the birdhouse. The caretakers interacted with the birds so much that some of the colorful parrots and cockatoos learned to talk. Amid the squawks were a few human words, all of them polite. Glad my dad threw that in there, 'cause I was wondering. Cannot have birds at a family-friendly zoo cussing out folk. Now, back to my dad. I considered parrots to be the smartest of the birds, but I saw something that had made me rethink that. I was talking to one of the employees, and we walked to a large cage that had a toucan in it. The box of Fruit Loops bird? Funny. The bird was sitting on a branch, and when we approached the cage, the toucan hopped down the branch to the front of the cage without being called. It was greeting the caretaker. The beak was as colorful as the one in bird pictures and was longer than I thought. I wondered how birds like that ate their food. I found out without asking. The young man had grapes in his hand. He put a grape between the bars, and the toucan had the grape in its beak at the tip end. The bird then tossed its head up and flipped the grape down its throat. It was one quick, easy motion. A popular expression at the time applied here. It was cool.